1340, and those of you, okay, you said start over. Welcome to you on 1340 and to many of you here in our live audience. Today it is my great pleasure to be interviewing Joan Kleinegris, who is the chair of the dining committee. Joan is what is known as one of the pioneers since she moved here in 2009 when Woodland Pond opened. Joan has other committees and other activities that she's involved in, but I think you'll agree the one topic that most people at Woodland Pond are interested in is food. So, Joan, take it away.
I just want to say thank you so much. I never expected such a huge crowd, and I will be signing autographs after, if you want to picture one, it'll cost you. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my background. I have a bachelor's in home ec education and a master's in education. And when I taught at Poughkeepsie High School, there was talk that home ec was going to be deleted from the curriculum at the high school level. It still is in the middle school level. So I went back to school and got certified in elementary education and health education. I prayed I never had to do elementary education, but if I wanted to earn a living, I would do mostly anything. This dining committee was formed almost in the beginning. The first council started in January of 2010, and they were limited committees, and it was called the Food Committee. There was another leader because I was on the council, the original one. And then when I finished my stint on the council, I joined the dining committee because I was really interested in that. Nobody seems to want to be the leader, and I can't understand why. I really can't. Well, it depends on the leadership, the people you're working with. And this particular group of management is extremely easy to work with. And I'm very fortunate to have a good committee. We are all volunteers, and there are 12 or 13 of us, including myself. And then there's a rep from the council. And of course, Amy and Jared attend almost every single meeting. So if we have a problem, we can solve it almost immediately or ask Amy to go to Michelle and it gets solved very quickly. That's what I like, the openness and the willingness to listen. I mean, we might not get what we want, but at least you feel that somebody listened and cared about it.
Can you talk a bit about how the menus are constructed and established?
Yeah, pardon me if I read some of this, but Ashley sent me a text how Sodexo works. And Jared, our executive chef, plans all the menus. He creates the entire cycle, breakfast, lunch, dinner, for the health center, the Simply to Go, and dinner for independent living. And then he meets with Amy and the chief chef managers, which in this case are Eon and Delon. They're Amy, Jared, Eon, Delon, and Carrie, the dietitian, are all Sodexo employees. Everyone else is Woodland Pond employee.
So Jared constructs the menus for a 6-week cycle. Where does his interface with Sodexo come in?
It's actually, I made a mistake. It's actually a 5-week cycle every 6 months. And Sodexo is like a hand on top. They don't control. All our menus are controlled by our staff. And this group, when Jared makes the menus, he meets with his head people. They make changes, they make suggestions. And he goes back and prints it all up, and they meet again to make sure that they didn't make any mistakes or they left something out.
Okay.
Everything is seasonal. And they try to have as little waste as possible. And I don't know about you, but I've seen the difference. Very little waste. There are fewer meals in the pub than ever before, which means they're not throwing too many
Mhm.
things away. People
Mhm.
are taking them for less price.
So if the menus are cycled through 5 weeks, why is it that sometimes residents say, oh, no, not meatballs and spaghetti again?
They eat on the same night every week.
So, for example, every Tuesday for 5 weeks will be, we're just saying, for example, would be meatballs and
No,
spaghetti.
not every Tuesday.
Oh,
It's a 5-week
right.
cycle. So you're gonna have to wait for your favorite spaghetti and meatballs to come back again. But yes, if you eat on Tuesday, you're going to get the same thing you did 3 or 4 weeks before. And that's why the repetition is there. I guess we have to change the nights that we
Oh.
come to dinner.
So if people don't want the same thing, they would change their night.
Either change your night or change your mind of what's on that menu. There
Mhm.
might be something else that you
That you
could
could have.
choose.
Now,
The
I'm sorry.
choices since this team has been in effect, unbelievable. And I happen to be really lucky on my committee. I have a registered nurse who's gluten-free. I have a very intelligent resident who does my vegan and vegetable checkup, vegetarian checkup, because I don't know too much about that. I also have another home ec major and a certified dietitian nutritionist. And I didn't realize all this when everybody signed up, but they're very knowledgeable people. Besides the whole committee being very bright and very caring, these people are qualified in the field.
I'd like to mention a few changes that took place since COVID is over. One is the pub. It's open on a experimental basis from 12 to 2 on Saturdays. How is that going?
That was Ginny Cannon's mission and will be her mission until she, whatever, leaves Woodland Pond. Her attitude was that if somebody wants a meal on Saturday, they are entitled to a meal on Saturday afternoon, as every other afternoon in the week. The management is very willing to continue it. It's not a money-making situation. They have to hire 2 staff. Someone has to be in the kitchen making the sandwiches and whatever they make for the breakfast and lunch. And it's not breaking even, but they're willing to continue it because there are some residents that really enjoy it. So if you want to see it continue, we're going to have to use it.
Another major change that took place after COVID is the reservation system. Some people love it, some people hate it. And can you talk about that and how it's viewed by management?
The seating, there are 3 seatings, and you all know it because you have your favorite. The first seating and the last seating, I really can't believe you have difficulty getting reservations. The middle seating is extremely popular, and you will have trouble getting reservations. The reason they don't extend it is the answer to that is quality of service. You have too many tables and not enough staff and not enough kitchen staff. You're going to wait 30, 40 minutes, which we have done in the past for your food, for your drink. Now you order your drink and in 5 minutes, it's in front of you. It's a wonderful system they have. I don't think we will get rid of the reservation system because their #1 goal is quality of service.
One of the recent changes is the um front and back service. That's within the last couple of months.
I forget the name of the program that they're using. If any of you remember it. Visual touch. Thank you, Ina. It sends a message directly to the kitchen. And there's a front waiter, a back waiter, a beverage waiter, someone
waiter.
who fixes the plates. And your meal and your drink should come out more accurate and faster. And your wait person is supposed to be visible almost the whole meal, so that if you're missing anything, you're supposed to be able to tell them. But what happens is sometimes there's nobody for them to tell to go get what you want. So they, being young and don't get the routine, will go get it for you. And I've witnessed that people at the table will ask the runner, they'll ask the bread person,
Tanya.
and all of a sudden there'll be 3 glasses of water. So,
One of the recent changes is the Meet Your Neighbor to try to integrate newer residents with former residents. Is it not loud enough? Jeffrey adjusted it before we sat down. That's why I didn't touch it. Excuse me? Okay. Oh, we could
like
hold it.
Taylor Swift. Oh my gosh.
Another recent change in the dining room is the Meet Your Neighbor nights. One this month, and I think they're planned for 2 every month. Could you talk a little bit about that and how it's being received?
I certainly can, and I want to give Halima kudos for this. She came as a guest to the dining committee and suggested because of all the new people, and I'm telling you, I know some of you as neighbors, but I don't eat with you and I don't talk to you and I don't know your background. I don't know your family. Maybe you don't want me to, but it's important, I think, to know things about one another. It gets us closer. So we implemented this Meet Your Neighbor once a month, and you make a reservation for yourself. It's going to be, that's one of the goals of the dining committee, is to now have Meet Your Neighbor twice a month, but it started as once a month. Overall, it was fairly well accepted. I know there are people that don't like it, but it has done its job of getting you to eat with other people that you normally wouldn't.
And I heard Amy say to several residents, she said, if you don't like it, then order in, eat a different night, cook. But, you have other options. It's only one of many options.
They are trying I noticed it's Thursday keeps getting hit a lot. And we suggested to Amy that she try to circulate the day. And I think a lot has to do with staff or whatever, but she's going to try to make it a different day than keep on the same one, because some people have a group that they go with and they have to constantly break up that group.
They've certainly given a lot of advance press. That October 26th date has been on the hostess desk for 2 weeks already. So that's the
That
next
was
night.
another suggestion of the dining committee. We didn't feel that they were giving us much press and much time in order to prepare for this. So they did. Now it's in the Chanticleer. There's always a sign on the hostess desk. So if you don't read, I can't help you.
There are often comments about the food. It's too salty, or there's not enough salt. Well, there's table salt. It's too garlicky, too much onion. And of course, you can't please everyone. But talk to us about the option for your own condiments.
What did you, the,
You can bring your own condiments? No.
you really are not supposed to take any food whatsoever into the dining room. And that's because it's regulated by the state. And if anything happens, they would know that it was your substance to bring in. So there's no outside edible
Hmm.
things allowed. However, I do believe you can bring your own wine and
Let's not forget beer.
beer,
Mm.
your own alcohol, I assume. We cannot sell the alcohol in an unopened bottle because we don't have that kind of license. That's a package store license. And if we do that, we lose our license to sell any kind of alcohol.
While you're on that topic, before COVID, when people had to use their decline, people were walking out of the dining room with 2 and 3 or more bottles of alcohol, which is alcohol, as I understand it, is no longer used toward your decline, not if you're buying a bottle that's unopened. Is that correct? Talk to us about what's going to happen with the zero rollover. I know Michelle gave some suggestions, but perhaps not everyone saw her talk.
I am not privy to that information. I've tried to get to see Michelle. It's not her fault. It's my fault. There's too many other things. The committee did suggest 3 different ways we could get rid of our declining balance other than paying for our neighbor's meal, but it didn't fly.
Okay.
You're going to lose it if you don't use it. And I am
December
not privy to the
31st.
financial or.
Okay. That's important because I actually was with people this week who thought it was rolling over. It is not rolling over. So if at the end of December, you have $70, that's lost to you. So take me out for a meal or something, you know.
You know, one of our residents looked into different ways and he met with Ruth and he said, I want to pay for Mrs. So-and-so's meals for the next month as a gift to her. Can you arrange every time she orders that it go on my bill? Ruth said, I will have to check. And apparently that's possible, that you can arrange. For some reason, this individual chooses not to come down all the time for health reasons. And that is why he wanted to do it. He has quite a big balance left.
I know one year when we had the community Christmas, maybe there were 18 or 20 of us at 2 tables. And we were joking that the bill was going to be unwieldy because some had turkey, some had ham and different, it wasn't a fixed price. So Steve Mock, who was our waiter then, came over and we're looking for the tickets and there's no tickets. And he said, it's been taken care of by somebody anonymous. So he picked up 20 meals, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, because he had a lot of money left. So if you're looking to spend money, Joan's last name is KL and my last is HA.
Yeah, anytime. Anytime. I always go over, so.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about the interface between our dining team with Jared and the health center and their meals.
When the dining committee first started, we were just responsible for independent living problems. It has grown now that we've added assisted living, and it's amazing to me the problems are identical. Same ones we have here, same ones we have there. And Jared and Amy, being that they attend every single meeting if they possibly can. If not, they'll send Ashley, or one time Eon came. Eon makes all the soups.
Yeah,
and there's always somebody with authority or knowledge. that we can count on, because we wouldn't accomplish anything if we had to keep going back. One thing you said about people are not happy with choices. Every single time since this committee began, we must have had 6 or more surveys. And every time we have a survey, it comes back 49, 51%, or it'll come back 50-50. It's always middle. I want more garlic. I want less garlic. I want more salt. I want less salt.
The one survey answer that always stuck with me from about 4 or 5 years ago was, why don't we have Spam?
But this leads me into something you said too. I just wish, I've often thought we should have a field trip to ShopRite and Tops for those people that don't understand how much groceries cost. And of course, we buy in bulk, so I'm assuming we get some kind of a deal. And I don't know anywhere you can go to get an entree and 2 sides for $16. Friends went to McDonald's the other day, they spent $30 and they had to eat in the car. You know, so they would have been better off going to the diner and being waited on and spending almost the same amount of money. And those of you that are aware of eating out and buying certain kinds of foods understand that this is a pretty good deal.
With inflation continuing to hover around 5-something%, we're finding out about our monthly increases next week, I think. I imagine our food will be affected too. Well, that's built into the monthly allowance, but we may see price changes on the menus.
You still will pay up the $300. That's a history too. We
Yes.
started with $450 when the place opened. And the dining committee was hit with, it's too much. I have too much left over. I'm not using it. So we bargained with management. They lowered it to $300. And now I hear I don't have enough. Well, that's partly because of inflation, but it's partly because that 100 and something is in your pocket. It's not, you know, minus or gone forever. You have to understand, you used to give in more money. I myself personally would rather pay after the fact than I know what I owe. Up front is difficult, then you have to spend. And in the beginning, just a light story, we sat at the table, 8 of us, and we would have a contest to see who could get their balance down to the lowest amount before the end of the month.
For that.
And we had one person get it down to 25 cents and had the nerve to ask the server, is there anything I can buy for 25 cents to make this a clear? So, and at one time, when they told us you had to use your balance, people were walking out with like 6 meals and 10 soups, and the kitchen went crazy. So I think that's why Michelle is starting early and telling you it's going to happen. Start taking stuff out now and freeze it or treat somebody or do whatever.
Oh, what was I going to say? Just lost it. I noticed also there was a push on the part of many residents to buy local. And I noticed we are doing a little bit more of that in terms of produce.
We do buy local. According to Sodexo, local is 100 miles. Apparently, I am very sorry, I cannot remember the farm that we buy the vegetables from, but it is less than 100 miles. We also use a local place for the ice cream. And that particular place closed, and now we found another fairly decent one. I think there's lots of choices. We do buy local. And the rule is 100 miles is local. We had, and if you haven't taken a tour of the kitchen, it's really important that you do that.
Joan, some of us spent 3.5 hours in the kitchen 2 weeks ago.
But you couldn't talk.
No, it was dark.
I was amazed. They opened up one of the refrigerators and from top to bottom was all fresh vegetables. I was really impressed at that. Most of the food is made here by our chefs. I think some of the desserts, although they make a lot of those too, some of the desserts are brought in. And the rolls are brought in from Rockland Bakery in, I believe it's Nanuet or in Rockland County.
I noticed that because we have so many new wait staff, I'm sure you have and other people have urged people to check their tickets. They still are making mistakes, and Melissa is wonderful, or the wait staff is wonderful in correcting it on the spot. For example, I got charged $2 for a glass of water. Maybe they got it from someplace, some kind of spring or something, but no, it was a mistake. She thought I had a soda. You really have to watch it, or they might charge the wrong price for an entree, or charge you for an extra side when you didn't have it. So that's very important.
Also on that, the charge has not been coming through with the declining balance. It's been an empty bottom on your ask and they will reprint it. And the wait staff person just didn't know why the machine, sometimes it's the machine. So I've been told. That pushes out the wrong thing. But always check. And this kind of leads me into, I don't mean to go off on you. If anything is wrong, immediately call your server. Tell them what's wrong. And they will take care of it. I had a piece of salmon that was raw towards the middle. And I asked the server to take it back, please, and zap it in the microwave. Well, they won't zap fish. I got a whole new salmon fillet within 10 minutes of my complaint.
Do you know why they won't zap fish? I do that all the time.
It doesn't do well. It dries out.
That's the only way I heat it up.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, it
We're
dries
gonna
it
take
out.
questions in a minute. No, George, we'll take questions in a minute, okay? Okay.
Bill, that's a dad joke. Yeah.
And Sunday brunch seems to be quite popular, although they did eliminate the first seating.
That was, it was not as popular as they thought that it would be until they made the 2 seatings.
Oh.
And there was a problem. They didn't let us know that ahead of time. And some people were disappointed, walked in, there was no meal. But according to Ruth, they would have served this person anyway. And my thought was, did you tell them that? And I don't know if they took something home or whatever it was, but that has been rectified, that you will be able to take it home if you
miss the seating.
well, that was a mistake on their part. So it's 2 seatings for brunch. I think they'd like it to be more people.
Wait till the cold weather comes. I think,
Right.
Speaking of Ruth, I think it's universal how people just admire and respect the work that she does. She will try to accommodate everyone, even if there's no seats. She might offer you a meal to take home, and she'll try to squeeze you in someplace, but she is just a marvel.
Amy knows how valuable she is. She promoted her and gave her a raise in order to keep her here. And she says she likes it, but
Have to be.
people are not always so kind.
No.
and she's always kind. And I tell her, don't you go in the kitchen and scream. She said, yes, I do. Yes. Well, one thing I forgot to answer, I have to tell you how wonderful this team is, these 5 top Sodexo people. We are very, very lucky. And I've worked with different teams, and this one seems to be all together, all of them.
Remind us again who they are.
Amy is the director. Jared is the chief executive chef. Delon and Eon are chef managers. And I believe her name is Carrie, is the dietitian, nutritionist. She's located in the health center. Her office is over there. She supposedly oversees the menu when it's written to make sure nutritionally. But don't forget, you have 5 or 6 choices. And if you don't choose the colorful, healthier choices, they're all healthy. But, and that's another thing that has happened. There are many more side choices than
Yes.
we've ever had
Yeah.
before.
There used to be, and I think you told me there still is, a directory of nutritional content for each item on the menu on the hostess station or someplace. It's a big binder. You could look up how many calories and how much protein this has, how much sugar. But I haven't used it, but it's somewhere.
It used to be readily available at the desk. Jared said no more, but if you really want it, he'll print it. It'll take him a long time, but it is available. There are no secrets. It's Sodexo's. You see on the labels when you buy in the pub, you buy it, everything is listed. That is a program. I forget the name of it. No, that's not the name of the program is another in the computer. It's not important that we know.
How do you?
It prints all the ingredients and calories and everything on it. So
Particular dish.
you have a pretty good idea if you have a problem that you shouldn't pick up this particular thing. It was very interesting the other day. Joan Mandy and I were down at the pub and she picked up a salad. And I said to her, "You're going to take that home?" She says, "Yeah, it looks good." I said, "It has taco strips in it." And she can't have that. It's not gluten-free. So I don't know if that was labeled or anything, but you have to be very careful if you are of that problem.
Just 2 more questions I have. One has to do with staffing. How are we with our front of the house and the kitchen in terms of
We
staffing?
were down, as of last month, down 2 people in the kitchen. And obviously the wait staff has changed because the people go back to school. But if they stay on the roster and come back at vacation time or weekends or evenings or whatever, we have a young man who comes in on, I think, Friday and Saturdays, because that's what his school schedule allows him to do. That's a help to them, but it's also a problem because who covers the rest of the time? I'm not so sure any of the wait staff except, no, I shouldn't even say that. I don't know, is full-time. They all seem to be part-time. Yeah, but they work very well.
Looking into your crystal ball, what challenges do you see regarding the dining operation here?
Well, you've hit on a biggie, and that is money. I really see problems with the cost of things, which is out of our control. Stores like Tops no longer even bring in scallops. The last time I looked, they were $36.95 a pound. And I said to the gentleman behind the counter, I said, "Well, how many do I get?" He says, "Well, I could squish 5 into the container for you." So I said, "How does a family do that?" He says, "They don't."
No, families don't eat.
So the price of food is going to affect us. And I'm amazed that they have kept the prices down on the menu. I really am.
Maybe we will get spam. Who knows? I said, maybe we will get spam after
The
all.
portions have gone up. I don't know if anybody realizes that or
The portions are large.
sees it the same as I do. And we have some people on the committee who say the portions are too big. And then some of us yell out, leave it alone. I get another meal out of it. Leave it alone.
Yeah. Well, you've been very, very helpful in giving us a glimpse into dining. And I wonder if there's anything I didn't ask you that you'd
Yes,
like.
I just want to tell everybody that I'll see you at Kaleidoscope on Saturday from 10 to 4. We
And
have a lot
now,
of fun, and they put up new pictures behind me because they
Okay.
had to take down the paintings for Kaleidoscope setup. So there's one big
Okay,
one
we'll
behind
see
me.
Saturday. Now to our live audience, what questions do you have, George? You want a mic? Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Jacob. By the way, I think that we've been very lucky and by and large on the dining situation here. The one problem that I've experienced in recent times, and I know others have, is the reservations problem. You mentioned it earlier, but it's really getting that you can't find a reservation until 2 and even 3 weeks out. Is there anything to be done? I think part of it is probably insufficient staff, wait staff that don't allow enough tables to be used. There's something going on there on the reservations that's not working.
I was told, George, that it's quality of service that's affected. Sure it does. You want to sit 45 minutes for your salmon to come out? Well, I don't want to put it all on wait staff because well, they have problems getting, and they try very hard, you know, the posting, HR posts things. Yeah, you can only make reservations 2 weeks in advance, so I'm told.
You might ask for a meeting with Amy, a one-to-one. That would help a lot of people, I think.
I'm going to pass the mic on.
You know, we've tried to make reservations online and they say it's full. You go to Ruth and she finds places for you. I think there are real problems with that computer system. I think it does shut it down because it thinks there's too many people. But actually, if you go to Ruth, you get a reservation.
But it's not only Ruth on the computer. Many times I've found that it comes back with another name. I ask for confirmation, even on the meals, and it comes back another name where Ruth might try a little harder. I don't know. I can't speak for her.
Yeah.
But I will.
You go to the desk, she's excellent.
You mentioned Amy and Jared and the other parts of the dining thing that were not mentioned but should be given exceptional praise is Tanya and the training of the dining room staff and how smoothly all of that works. And I just wanted to make sure that that got recorded.
Thank you very much, Bill. You're right. Tanya deserves a real amount of credit. She meets with the staff every night. I believe it's at 4:15 or 4:20. And they go over the menu, what's available, what's not available. They go over the list of ice creams and everything. And she says the fork goes on the left, the drink goes on the right, every single night. Yes, some of them won't. I mean, you know, kids, they look at it, ooh. But yes, they are privy. So are you. If you don't know what something is, they have tiny little cups And you can ask for a sample and they will bring the sample to you and then you can order your dinner. Also too, with condiments, if you're having a pork chop, ask for applesauce. They will bring it out to you if it's not served on the plate. They will bring out sour cream if they have it. They don't seem to have cranberry sauce quite a bit, but I think it's very, Joan was telling me how difficult it is to get cranberries. Yeah. But ask, this is my pet peeve, open your mouth. Do not discuss it over coffee with your neighbors. Tell the person, the wait staff, I want the manager on duty. Get it over with immediately. And some people say, well, I don't want to get the staff in trouble. They won't get in trouble. It'll be opportunity for Tanya to teach.
There's kind of a running gag at two of the tables that I eat with. There, and we've talked to Amy about this. Teaspoons, they've disappeared. You get ice cream and you get a soup spoon, and you either get a soup spoon or a demi-tasse spoon. There is no teaspoons. Amy says they've got them. I don't believe that they've got them. So it's kind of a running gag.
We've experienced that too at our table. I think it's hysterical. The little spoon, I call it a Barbie spoon because it looks like it goes with Barbie's house.
Didn't Amy say at one of the Q&As that they had thousands of dollars of merchandise missing? And if you return them, no questions asked. I don't know that they got any back, but there is pilfering going on too.
I have a question or two, a remark. First of all, do you know the history of the balance allocation? Because basically it's your money that you pay that amount and then they take it out and put it in your account, and basically it's the same money. It's just going from this pocket to that pocket. And the same thing happens if you overspend the allocation, let's say the $300. I mean, you're just taking it from the other pocket and putting it into the same balance. This doesn't count as being on your balance sheet. So do you know the history of that? Why is this being done? And for instance, just pay directly for what you buy.
The history of the amount.
Not necessarily the amount, but the principle. Why have this allocation to begin with? Because basically it's money that you paid that they put it back into your what do you call it, the balance, the declining balance, or your credit towards meals.
All right.
So you can spend that amount, but you can spend more. I mean,
It was that way before COVID.
no. I mean, no, that
beginning.
was here from day one when I came.
I understand what you're saying. We didn't create the system. It was a given, but it was $450. And as Joan said, some residents found that too high. I know what you're saying, though. It's no.
Yeah. All right. Good. You led me on the Woodland Pond has a contract with Sodexo. Regardless of what things cost, regardless of any problems, that's the amount of money that Sodexo gets for their 5 people to run this place.
I see.
So anything we are charged, I am sure, is covering, but I can't speak to the finances. I don't know. And I don't know if I guess I am privy to that. I could ask.
Okay, well, the other question is, oh, I forgot. No, I had some comments about the question of people being 49 to 51 in favor of this or the other. We tend to eat very little at the dining room because Leah is focused on the kitchen. I mean, she cooks every day or sometimes, twice a day. And I mean, if you ask her, she says she wouldn't want to be in the shoes of the kitchen staff, trying to satisfy, 500, 250 people with 500 different preferences. So, I mean, it's remarkable that they can manage to at least satisfy most of the people most of the time. So it's a tough job. I mean, I don't know about the things that you are not allowed to bring spices or anything. I mean, I understand food itself, but spices, I believe at some point when we just came in just before COVID, that we could bring things to the dining room if we wanted. I mean, maybe it was an oversight that people didn't monitor it.
Bring curry powder.
The Board of Health. No, I understand that in assisted living, but they monitor here also.
And bring is a birthday cake. If you're a birthday cake, and they'll put it in the freezer until you're ready to have it. Any other questions, comments? Yes, you weren't here for that part. Yes,
Yes.
yes. And beer. Yes.
They're pretty.
How do they taste? How do they taste? Yeah. Okay. Jean, you had your hand up.
But just for your information, if you've got extra money and your family's coming at Christmas time, save it for Christmas and you'll use it then. And because they always have a wonderful dinner at that time for the holidays. And they will for Thanksgiving too, I'm sure. But if you're ahead and you're going to have family there, that's the way that you can use it. So anyway.
The menu is out for Thanksgiving. It's on the desk.
What was the reason they changed it from last year and the year before? You could roll it over at least for a month or so. And now they say no, zero. Huh? What's the
There
financial?
never used to be carryover.
Yeah.
Couldn't come down. They couldn't spend their money. So for 2 years, people rolled over, but that's over now. Any other questions, comments? Yakov, you're on the edge of your chair. What is it?
Oh, I just wanted to add, we're all coming over to your house for dinner. So sounds good to me.
It is.
Well, thank you all. And Joan, thank you so much for enlightening us.
You're quite welcome, and thank you for being here. You made my day.